this might not be actually healthy. Because I'm like, every day, I'm like, today could be my last day.
I think about this all the time.
Today could be my last day. And I'm like, how would I want my last day to be?
Yep.
Do I want to be a kind person? And I think about this every fucking day.
Every day.
Some days I have a bad day and I don't think about it. And I'm like, fuck, like, what if I died that day?
Right.
And that's how I would have died.
Right.
That would have been my last day. And I can't fucking live like that.
You texting me an hour ago saying I had to look who this guy was. Sebastian Giovinco? Is that
Giovinco? Or no,
Giovinco?
Giovinci.
Giovinci.
No, it's Giovinco. Fuck. Hold on. Sebastian Giovinci. No, it's not Chi. It's, hold on. Giovinco. Sebastian Giovinco.
Giovinco, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
He was at your house. Why?
I don't know why. They're doing like a media campaign, I guess. Have we started?
Yeah, we're on. Baby.
Okay. So they're doing like a media campaign. Bro, I was actually so fucking nervous for this because...
In your unit or in the whole building?
Like they knocked on my door, like to my apartment. Yeah, that was wild. So I knew they were coming. They did like a email. Do you want to participate? I almost said no because like I was genuinely like afraid. I'm like, I don't know if this is like my thing. But MLSE has been great to me. They sent us to a Raptors game with my dad when we were in like the Rolls Royce, and then we went to the Val and I went to a Leaf game, and they've just been really like kind to me. So it was that agency who reached out. We're like, hey, we're doing this like campaign with Sebastian Giovinco. We are like debuting our new kit for Valentine's Day. It's our new red jersey, basically, for the team. Now, I'm not like a football or soccer like fan, so I had to like look him up. And when I did, I was like, holy fuck! Like this guy's like the top of the top for like the Toronto FC. Like he was like the best. I don't know what the North American Soccer League is called. MLS. Yeah. So he was like the best for years. He won the championship in like 2017, and like you can see BMO Field like right out my window. So. Like that's like his home, which is cool. Anyway, so they were like, yeah, he's gonna come drop it off, and like I wasn't nervous until day of, and then like they're like, yeah, like we'll be there in 5 minutes. I'm like, I started shaking and shit. I'm like, dude, I'm actually like genuinely nervous because this guy's like a legend like in the sport.
Yeah.
So I called my brother before, and I was like, yo, like, you know Sebastian Giovinco? He's like, yeah, like the soccer player. I'm like, yeah, he's like coming to my house right now. He's like, what the. What are you talking? Am I allowed to swear?
You can swear.
Okay, he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, dude, I don't know. So I don't know why they chose me. I guess like because I have a relationship with MLSE, they were like, I'm in their network, and they just wanted to like make some content of him giving the new jersey to a bunch of different people. I don't know if we're all going to be influencers or if there's going to be other athletes involved or what. We'll find out when the footage like comes out, but it's under embargo until the 14th, so you can't post this until after Valentine's Day.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
But, well, I guess they can't just show... I mean, it's probably fine to hear about it, but you can't show the jersey until after then. Anyway, yeah, so it was cool. I shook his hand. I had so many things planned that I wanted to say to him, and it just all went blank because I'm like, I'm in the presence of, like, greatness. I am nobody. This is fucking weird. I shook his hand. I grabbed it. He gave me some roses and, like, the new jersey. We took some photos together, and that was it.
Was it a big team or no?
It was him and this girl, Victoria, who was, like, running everything through MLC.
Yep.
She's the one organizing it all. Another gentleman, I never got his name, shook his hand, I think, and then the cameraman, and that was it.
Oh, chill.
Yeah, it was nice because it wasn't super big. I was like, you guys want to come in? He was like, no. I was like, okay. Sorry.
Do you think, like...
Feed the whole house.
Do you personally think that athletes are one of the top level of common celebrity in terms of how nervous you would get to meet them?
Okay, so it's weird because I never thought I would be nervous to meet anybody, but I think... And I don't even know this guy. Like, I didn't really know him before this, so I was like, okay, whatever.
Right.
But, like, leading up to it, I'm like, wait a minute, like, this is a big deal. So I think I was just nervous in general about the whole interaction. Maybe not necessarily him. He actually seemed really cool. I gave him a cardigan, by the way. I was like, yo, I make clothes. Like, the last one we did is, like, for superstars. Like, I want...
Nice.
Like, and, like, you're literally a superstar. I want you to have this.
Yeah.
So I gave it to him, which was cool. And, I don't know, I feel like he's doing this for everybody. Nobody's probably giving him anything in return. So I just wanted to, like, do that. But... No, I don't know. I think the person I would be most nervous to meet would be Bryan Cranston, for sure.
Nice.
From, like, Breaking Bad.
Yeah, of course.
And other than that, like, I don't really know. I don't think athletes would... I mean, I was so nervous today. I guess I always thought I wouldn't be, but maybe I would be. I don't know. Would you be nervous to, like, meet any...
You know what? Athletes, no, not at all. I mean, I've met many athletes, but... For some reason, I don't rank them very high in terms of how nervous I would be
like
personally.
Kids who play sports.
Exactly,
who, like,
yeah.
Not lucky, but, like, you know.
They just have, like, an extraordinary physical ability.
Yeah.
I think that's sick. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not, like, I think for me, the nerves would come around somebody that I associate with power in terms of, like, business for some reason. Even though I would try my best to like knock down that wall pretty fast, like I think about like a really powerful CEO or politician,
Yeah.
something like that. Like
Actually, that's true. They're like really intimidating figures, those kinds of people. And
That's
I
what
think
I mean.
actually a lot of that had to do with my nerves because I researched him a bit. He purchased, or he's like a part owner of the, what's the thing that you like to play? It's not tennis. It's,
what, pickleball?
yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a league now.
Yeah.
He's part owner of the Toronto Polar Bears.
Oh, what?
Yeah. So he's like also like an entrepreneur, businessman. And I think the fact that his like net worth is so high and he's retired,
Yeah.
like maybe all that stuff, like, yeah, maybe that aspect of it was maybe why I was more nervous. than
Okay, that
the
makes
fact that
sense.
he's just like a soccer player. Not
Yeah.
that he's just a soccer player, but
Right.
um, yeah, I guess, yeah, I agree with that totally. And then actors and stuff. I think creative people too, like people who are really successful in a creative field who have like surpassed every sort of echelon that you can get to, like in terms of like acting or whatever. Like some of them, I think, would intimidate me.
What about designers? Like I know obviously you're a fashion guy, so like what about designers? Meeting Rick or meeting Virgil or meeting any of these guys or girls?
Because I do feel like that is something that like if I really tried, I could also attain for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that would make me like super nervous. It'd be really cool though. We actually saw when Val and I were in London. Now that I'm on the spot, his name's escaping me. He was the designer for Gucci for a while. Alberto. Is it Alberto? I don't know if you want
Let
to
me
pull
look
it
it
up. But we were at the Tate Modern Museum, and then he posted a story of him at like Tate Modern, like doing something, painting something for like Post Malone or whatever.
Sick. Okay.
Yeah, and then we were like leaving, and we saw him on the street, and Val was like, "Oh my god, no fucking way! That's God, I forget his name."
There is an Alberto Di Nicola.
No, it's not him.
Okay.
Just yeah, whatever. I follow him on Instagram now. I forget his name because I'm on the spot, but
I find that if it, for me in my experience, if like a run-in is random, I find there's less nerves for me. But if it's planned, then I have all the time in the world to be nervous.
that's why I think I got super nervous. Like, they're coming to my house. I'm like, I gotta make sure it's clean. Like,
Right.
what do I wear? What do I talk about? Like,
But yeah, exactly. I've met celebs on accident, right, running into a store or something, and that is like super chill and
yeah,
kind of
because you just
fun.
be like, yo, what the hell? Yo, big fan. Like, that would be like super
Exactly.
easy.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, when the pressure is like removed.
So I mean, I know you're for the audience. I know you're the fashion guy, you're the fragrance guy, you're a lifestyle king. Like, what else is there to Charles Mackenzie beyond those titles?
Oh my god, what do you want to know? I think you got to get specific. I don't know if
What-
I could just rant about myself.
Man, like what grinds or not grinds your gears? What turns your wheels? What like gets you going? What interests you beyond those flagship titles that everyone knows you for?
That's a good question. It definitely is a big majority. I'm an open book, man. I think I always have been. So like my whole life, I've always been into fashion. Like I was shopping the women's section when I was in like grade 7, grade 8 for like girl jeans, and I was getting bullied like crazy in high school for
I
being
bet.
emo. Yeah, my first pair of girl jeans was from Garage. They were flared actually, kind of like Kendrick's at
Those
halftime
Celine
show.
joints, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were Celine.
Yeah, they
actually.
were.
Yeah, I thought they were Acne, but yeah, no, Celine. They're cool. So I think I've always been like an open book in terms of my interests. I don't know. There's not much that people don't know about me.
Is there a topic on your socials that you would want to speak on more, or like in a perfect world could speak on more?
I avoid the controversial stuff, but I'm really passionate about food. Actually, I've done cooking content.
Yeah.
But I'm actually more passionate about like the ignorance behind the way people consume their food than cooking food itself.
Totally.
For example, and I can't believe I'm about to say this. I like hunting. Like I used to hunt for a little bit, and I don't mention that because people are like, "You kill animals." First of all, if you're watching, I've never actually successfully harvested like a deer or anything. I
For the
tried.
record, yeah.
I really did try. And I think the reasons that I like it is because I was a vegetarian for like 8 years, and my body was just like depleted, and I felt like I needed to eat meat again, but I wanted to do it in like a moral and ethical way. So I did a lot of research for a long time, and I learned that hunting is like the most sustainable way of like eating food.
Right.
I'm not going to dive into it deep, but like for starters, you harvest one deer, your family is fed for like 8 months.
Yeah.
And that's one animal. That impact is extremely low. Also, venison is delicious. It's one of my favorite meats.
Venison's fantastic.
It's so
yeah.
good.
Britt loves it.
Yeah. And not only that, like you have an A to Z relationship with your food. So like you're out there 3 months before the season starts. You're tracking the land. Like you're finding their patterns, their habits. You're setting up your stand. You're putting like feed out. You're setting up cameras. You're working really, really hard. And then the time comes. I actually saw 4 doe when I was in the tree stand, and my heart was racing. I didn't have a doe tag. You're not like allowed really. It depends on the population numbers and things.
Oh, so they're tagged with a specific one to.
So you have a tag as a hunter that you're allowed, that gives you the right to harvest an animal, but it's usually like a buck tag. So the antlers have to be like longer than like 5 inches for you to be legally allowed to like shoot this animal and harvest.
Oh, I didn't know that. So is there one kind of tag for all hunters, or different hunters have different tags?
No, so it's different seasons. So like deer will be in season from like November, for like 2 weeks in November, you're allowed to shoot a deer. And then the season's actually like a month or so. I might be rusty on the facts.
Yeah.
If you're hunting with a bow, for example, you can hunt a little longer. But they usually, so you purchase a tag based on your geographic location. So every like plot of land, like in Ontario, there's like an allotment of tags for that like spot of land that you're allowed to hunt.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Because they have to monitor the populations and things. So you can't harvest a deer that doesn't have antlers of like 5 inches. So obviously it has to be a certain age, it has to be mature, and you can't harvest the females. You can only harvest the males until like you've harvested your male. You're allowed to re-enter like a lottery to win a tag to hunt another like doe if you want.
Oh.
So you can actually get more than one. But all that to say, like all the numbers that we know about wildlife and all of like the conservation efforts that take place, like helicopters are flying over, like counting the elk, like they're knowing the population of these animals. All the funding from that comes from hunters. A lot of people don't know this. So a lot of like animal activists will be like, how could you kill an animal? You're a murderer. You're doing this. It's like, well, like, what are you doing to help? Like hunters, all their dollars go to the research and the conservation of wildlife. And they're actually like boots on the ground, like spending time with these animals in the forest. They're with their families. I know like killing sucks, but like at the end of the day, if you're eating meat, like an animal's dying because of you.
I was going to say, if you're a meat eater, it's either that or you just support large over-commercialized meat processing, right?
100%. And that's the thing I hate doing the most. And I'm not really in a position where I'm hunting anymore. I sold my firearms.
Yeah.
Like I do really want to find like a sustainable farm to purchase from now that I'm in Toronto. I had one in Ottawa that I would buy from. That's actually the same plot of land I hunted on. Obviously I wasn't hunting his like farm animals. Like, he doesn't have deer in his farm, but there's deer that live nearby.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a big misconception. I think people think, you have a gun, you go in the woods, you kill a deer, you're a monster. But it's not really like that. It's more deep than that. It's kind of like a lifestyle. It's also very beautiful to spend that much time in nature.
Totally.
It's really hard work. And then when you finally harvest your animal, and I've never actually done this. I've never actually gotten to the point of harvesting a deer. I knew like it would break my fucking heart to shoot one, but I knew if I'm going to eat meat, this is like the purest way to do it. Like beginning to end, A to Z. I not stalked, but like tracked these animals for months. I like set up cameras. I set up camp in the right spots. Like I was monitoring the wind. And if I I get to see them, that was beautiful. Just seeing them was the reward. I didn't even have to harvest it. I saw all those does. They walked like 10 feet in front of me. I'm like, yo, this is insane. It was one of the happiest moments of my life.
Nice.
But there was no buck. I think the buck actually stayed back in the brush because they can sense like danger. It's kind of crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah, no, it's wild. So
who got you into hunting in the first place?
So my dad used to hunt when he was a kid.
Okay.
But not very ethically, which is unfortunate. But my brother still does hunt. He hunts a lot, and that's where I got a lot of my venison from him. And he's takes his kids out. It's beautiful, man. You connect with your family. Oh, what I was saying was your relationship with the food.
Yeah.
So after you harvest that animal, like that's yours. And like when you make food, sometimes like, oh, I'm not hungry, you throw it out. Like you're not wasting that. You know how hard you worked for that?
Totally.
An animal died for that. And you're the one who pulled the trigger. Like you have to like cherish every meal. I found when I was cooking venison that my brother harvested and gave to me, I was like, every single part of that animal like mattered. And it's just, there's no ignorance involved in like the consuming of this food, which like exists when you buy a chicken breast from the grocery store. You're full, you throw it in the garbage, or you let it expire 3 days later. Like you don't do that when you're hunting. It really, like every single bite matters. And I think that's important. It's just, you're not being wasteful. You're like really connected with your food in a beautiful way. And I think that's missing for a lot of people in modern times. So that's something I'm passionate about that I never talk about.
Nice.
And I don't talk about it because it's controversial and a lot of the people online are very young and I don't think they would understand. I do get how you could not want to kill something. I totally understand. I didn't like want to actually do it either, but I knew like I'm eating meat anyway. Like I'm funding a corporate machine that kills like 8 billion animals every single year when I go to the grocery store.
Right.
And
of course.
My hands are not clean, you know?
Yeah.
So fuck all that. I'll go do my own thing. I'll get my own animal and I'll feed myself for like almost a year on one bullet. You know what I mean? One animal.
Totally.
It's just a low impact. Anyway, something I'm passionate about.
What do you actually need to legally go out and hunt? You need a firearm if you're using a
Yeah,
firearm.
you have to have a hunting like a hunting license.
Right.
That's pretty easy to obtain. I think it's probably a few $100s, and you have to renew them every 3 or 5 years. I can't quite remember. I let my stuff expire. And your firearms license. So you need a non-restricted firearms license to be able to hunt. That's like a weekend course. I think it's like 2 8-hour days back to back, which is actually cool about Canada because in America it's all state run. So every state has different laws around firearms. In Canada, it's federal. So every single province in the country has to do every single citizen in Canada has to do the exact same process to be able to own a firearm.
So you having hunted in Ontario, you can go to like BC or Alberta and legally hunt as well, or?
No, great question. I think you probably need like a guide, or you need to like apply or something, or what. I actually don't know the answer to that. But in Ontario, yeah, like you can hunt on like crown land, so you're allowed to like go hunting in like public spaces, but you have to wear like your high vis. Also, like, man, I'm so out of practice. My brother would know a lot more about this than I do. But like crown land, you're allowed to hunt on, like national parks, even believe it or not. And there's a map online, I forget what it's called, that you can look at all the places you're allowed to hunt. But you can also hunt on like private property. So the best thing to do is get permission from like a farmer. Hey, like you have 100 acres. I would love to like hunt your property, share some meat with you, whatever.
Right.
Or if you know of a farmer. That's the way a lot of people do it, or they own their own. They own their own property. Because if you're going into public land, like somebody else already set up their spot.
Yeah.
Like you're kind of like, it's also like a little more dangerous to be like in a public space with other people with guns shooting.
Yeah, I always wonder. I mean, no pun intended, but how territorial hunting is. Like, if you have a spot, and is it kind of faux pas to, share somebody's spot that you don't know? And...
I think it maybe would be. Somebody probably spent like a lot of time and years like finding the perfect spot. If you just came in there, they'd be like, "No, like get the fuck out of here."
Okay, interesting.
Maybe, but I don't know the answer. Yeah.
Okay. One thing I never asked you, unless you had another thing on the hunting.
No, I almost feel like I don't want to talk about it anymore because I don't want like people thinking I'm a monster.
No. Hey, I don't think that's coming across at all.
That's fair.
One thing I wanted to ask you, I've never asked you this, but how long have you been doing content for?
I think I started 2021.
2021.
Yeah, something like that.
I know one of the very first YouTube videos you posted was a Polaroid photo review.
So I love photography.
I noticed a few of the early ones were all photography.
Yeah, that's kind of what started my whole like content journey, was just photography. I would watch like William Verbeek
Yeah.
a lot, and then Joe Greer.
Yep.
Back in the day, and Ryan like Culligan, like my best friend, he was huge into film photography at the same time. He kind of got me started in it, and I was missing my creative outlet from like being in the band. So I was like, okay, I'm ready for like something else creative, and photography was just, it seemed really cool. So we would like, I bought a film camera. I went thrifting for like film cameras, found one really cool one, and then bought some film stock, went out and just started like taking film photos, and I thought it was like a cool little hobby at the time. But I loved watching those YouTube videos, and I was like, all right, like I feel like I can do a YouTube video like that. So I just tried it.
Yeah,
it wasn't anything crazy, but that's my first YouTube videos. Yeah.
So I always wonder, like with content, with people that are full-time creators, what did that transition look like from making casual content for no reason at all to then deciding that, oh, this is a job now? Like, what did that look like for you?
I remember my first like feeling and experience finding out you could make money being a creator. I was in my old place in Ottawa. I don't remember my following at the time, maybe 10,000, 20,000, something like that. My shit wasn't even Charles Mackenzie like at the time. Like, it wasn't even my social media names or anything. It was something else. So I was doing content, and I was in real estate at the time. One of my buddies at the office, his wife's sister actually worked at an agency who represented whatever. And he was like, like about brand deals? I was like, what's brand deals? Yeah. And then we got talking. I was like, no way. So I met with her. She was like, yeah, I don't think you're ready yet, but it does exist. Also, you should have your Instagram handle and your TikTok handle be the same name. I'm like, okay. And I didn't want to change it because I loved my handle back then. Totally, yeah. But she was right. So anyway, I found out you can make money with it. And that kind of lit a fire under me to be like, oh, cool. I didn't know that. Like, let's try and get a brand deal. My first brand deal was the brand called Wild Fang. I think they're from California. Dude, weird. I know. They paid me $500 US through PayPal. Maybe it was Canadian. I don't know. But I was so excited. Hey, I was like, yo, what the hell? Yeah, $500 and then it kind of just, it unlocked my brain a bit. I was like, what? This is a job? This is weird. So another like year and a half went by, like getting a couple brand deals here and there, nothing crazy. I was still in real estate, hating my life, still bartending to like pay my rent. And then eventually it turned into what it is now, which is really crazy. And it's something that I need to reflect on more because I catch myself getting a little upset with the work. And sometimes when I post ads, I'm like, this is frustrating that this is what I'm doing with my time. I just started making videos because I liked videos. Now I'm basically doing commercials, which like when you say it out loud, it's actually sick. I just feel like I get a lot of the, I'm not gonna lie, the comments affect me sometimes. People are like, oh, another ad, or this is so contrived, or like, oh, dude, selling out. It's like, bitch, you would fucking too. You know what I mean? Like, right. You literally would too. Like, kids grow up now, their dream is to be a content creator. You're telling me you want to be a content creator and not do ads? Good fucking luck, bud. Like, exactly. I gotta pay the bills. And at the end of the day, I'm living my dream life, and I'm well on my way to like living an even cooler dream life through content. And part of that journey is doing partnerships. But it's really cool to be able to like mend and work with brands that you grew up sort of like purchasing or idolizing or loving, and now they're paying you. Like, it's a really cool full circle thing that happens. A lot of people, it leaves a bad taste in their mouth, but those people just, I don't know, I have to kind of like remove myself from that because they'll never understand. But yeah, it was a weird journey. It kind of just happened naturally. I never did it because I was like, this is a job. I just was making content, and now it is my job. And it's kind of sick. But again, like, I forget sometimes. I got a meeting today with my agent and my girlfriend. And we were just talking about how lucky I am to have this job. And it is cool. And I do feel that way sometimes, but I don't remind myself of it like enough.
Is it that like you're focused too much? Like, how much do you think about the future versus right now?
What do you mean?
Like, do you care, or like on your day to day, are you thinking about how things are right now, or are you more so focused on where you want to go next?
Oh, always looking forward. Yeah. And it scares the shit out of me. Because I'm like, that's something I was talking about today with my agent as well. I was like, am I going to be like relying on brand deals for the rest of my life to pay my bills? Is that all I am?
Right.
And that's not what I want.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really trying to rebuild my brand right now behind the scenes. It's a lot of fucking work. And ultimately, like, I want to have my own business to sustain me.
You have to own equity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Even though this is what I always say, and we know this, but even though the brand deals can be so lucrative, you're still trading time and energy for money.
Yeah,
right?
Except you're trading a lot less time for a lot more money.
100%. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like,
yeah, you can make like 10K in like a day.
And I think that's what most creators get complacent with, is when they get 10K for a brand deal that took them a day to make, they go, perfect, this is everything I ever wanted. But what does that look like when you're 55 or 60, right?
Yeah, because it's a competitive industry, man. Every like year, there's a new flock of people coming to take your spot.
Exactly.
So you really have to like solidify yourself and stand for something. And for me, all that is just being honest with who I am.
Yep.
I say no to a lot of partnerships, and I don't like to do ones that I don't align with. I will for the right price, mostly on TikTok. Right. But that's something that I want to maintain. And over time, like, I want to do a little bit less until like my own business is thriving. And then I can just like cherry pick the perfect brand partnerships for me. You know what I mean? And I'll do them forever. But ultimately, like, I want my own thing, you know?
Do you think about like, I mean, do you have a dream lifestyle in mind?
Yeah, do you?
Absolutely. No. The reason I ask is because one of these things that Britt and I follow a lot is called human design. Have you looked into this?
No, I don't know anything about it.
It's really fascinating. But anyways, one of the facets of human design is your manifestation type. And you can either be non-specific or specific. Oh. And Britt is a non-specific. I'm a specific.
Okay.
And the differences are, I mean, they're pretty self-explanatory. But me being a specific manifester, I can picture down to every minuscule detail what I want the future life for me and Britt and our family to look like.
Right.
Whereas Britt, being non-specific, she just has more or less like general ideas of what she wants her life to look like. Neither is correct, obviously. Yeah. But it's interesting to look at, like, I can tell Britt, like, no, this is the color of my car. This is the color of our this. This is the finishing of our kitchen. Like, all these very specific things that I'm manifesting, where she's just like, I want to travel, like very more generic things. What are your thoughts?
I think that's cool. I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a bit of both. I feel like there's some things I know exactly what the fuck I want. Like, I want a 1967 Mustang fastback in black with chrome wheels with like chrome accents, black leather, wooden steering wheel. Like, that's my dream car of all time. Like, that I will have before I die. I don't even care if I have to bankrupt myself to get it. Like, I want it. You know what I mean? And then I know I want a bungalow. I know I want a conversation pit or a sunken living room in my bungalow.
Dude,
I want
100%
it to be like,
sunken living room. Man. Yeah.
Yes, and I want it to be like 2,500 to 3,000 square feet. I want a big ass bungalow with like a garage that can fit like I don't know, let's call it like 6 to 10 cars.
Right. But the house itself doesn't need to be like 15,000 square feet or anything like that.
I actually drew it out.
Yeah?
I drew it, like I drew a picture of the house I want. I think it might even be in my notebook with me today.
There you go.
But yeah, and like I have like this vision of like a circle driveway with a big tree in the middle, huge garage. I want
Nice.
cold plunge, sauna, hot tub, pool, outdoor barbecue, all the stuff in the backyard.
Yep.
And beyond that, I think I mostly just have like general lifestyle goals. One number that I used to, I guess I am specific the more I think about
This
it.
is sounding pretty specific to me.
Yeah. When I was younger, I wrote on my wall in my bedroom with permanent marker. I don't know how happy my mom was about it, but I wrote like, I am successful, I'm happy, blah, 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 blah. And I wrote $20 million on there. And I think that still reigns true. That still rings in my head like over 10 years later, like that number. So that's a very specific number for me. I want to earn 20 million. I don't care if it's a revenue or if it's profit from like my clothing company or whatever business I make maybe in a few years from now. So I have some specific goals, but I don't know where I'll end up. Like that house could be in London, it could be in France, it could be in Spain, it could be in Toronto. I don't know where that house is going to be, that bungalow.
Yep.
The car too. I don't know where it's going to be.
I think the most important aspect of manifestation is actually not the goal, but the practice of manifesting. And that, like, I think I saw in your story last week or something, if you just take the time every once in a while to, whether it's in a journal or permanent marker on the wall, if you write out what those goals are, what those specific or non-specific goals are, they kind of help you keep accountable in the back of your head.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like a driving force.
Yeah.
Like I do it all the time journaling at the start of my day or at the start of my week, and it drives my ambition, drives my passions, drives my work, because now I know, or I remind myself, in amongst all the noise that happens throughout my life,
Yeah.
paying bills and dealing with this, that, what the driving force is and why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's a good, like, it's very grounding in a way, especially if you like lose track or lose sight of like, you know, you're stressed or whatever, and like you're losing sight, like just to look at it or to write it down again. I think it's amazing. You journal a lot, eh? You journal like more than I do.
I think Britt got me into journaling more than anyone. We love it. I mean, we try and do like a weekly or bi-weekly cafe visit on like a Sunday morning and just journal.
Nice.
Sometimes to share, other times just to keep personal.
Yeah.
And it's very open-ended. Again, it's like I just said, it's more like a check-in.
Yeah.
And it's more just like a taking stock of how we feel, not meant to be overly glorified or romanticized. It's just meant to be like, put some thoughts in this really busy, convoluted brain of yours onto paper.
Yeah.
And the actual physical act of writing things down is so ingraining into your life that I don't know. I really do see a difference in my energy.
It makes it real, man. It's because
yeah.
you take it from here and you put it now on a physical object that actually exists. Like it really does make it real.
Yeah.
We did like you probably did this too. Like you set goals like with the agency with Drake and stuff.
Yep.
So last year we set goals at the beginning of the year for me, like milestone goals. Like so, like basically the same thing, manifesting these goals. I crushed all of it.
Killer, dude.
Which is crazy because I feel like maybe if I didn't set any of those goals, I wouldn't have.
Right.
You know, because I could just think in my head like, oh, I want this many followers or whatever. Like it's not real unless you actually like put it down and like really try to hold yourself accountable.
Yep. They're measurable. Yep.
Yeah, we did it again this year. My goals are pretty lofty this year, so I have a lot of work to do.
I think they have to be.
That's just it. And also like on this whole manifestation thing, I kind of like had a moment within the last few months of like since we moved to Toronto, like holy fuck, like I've actually manifested so much in my life over the last few years.
Hell
Like
yeah.
I had the worst leading up to like the last like 2 years of my life. I had the worst like 5-year stretch of my life period. Like it was so bad.
Damn.
So to go from that to a place where like I thought I wasn't even gonna be here anymore,
Right.
to where I am now, like just tells me that like I can do anything. And the fact that I had that moment and reflected about like holy fuck, like I've manifested all this, like was really important to me because it made me believe in myself a little bit more. I'm like looking around myself and like even something as simple as like the lamps I just got like as a PR present, like free, which is cool, but I've like always wanted these lamps. And I'm like, I love these lamps. It'd be really cool to like make this happen. So I sent a few emails over the course of a year. Finally, somebody reached out. Hey, heard you were trying to get a hold of us. Like, we'd love to give you some lamps. I'm like, I just made that happen. That's a small example. Like, I have a big place in Toronto. I have a beautiful girlfriend, a beautiful dog. Like, I make good money. Like, the lamps is just one small aspect of it. But the whole thing, like,
I mean,
It just doesn't feel real.
I
It's
always say
weird.
that for what you just said there, the small example. I always say the small things are the big things, and I think that small example is actually a big example. It's a bigger example of what this all means. How did you get out of that 5-year rut? Was it like just you, or was it a support system? What did that look like?
Mushrooms, bro.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, though, not even kidding. I'll go into a little bit. Don't do drugs, kids, at home. But I
But
think,
mushrooms.
yeah, I was microdosing mushrooms for a while when I was in real estate, and a lot of the like hyper successful people at like the brokerage were like micro. And I never heard of it. This was like before it was cool.
Yeah.
And I was like always scared of mushrooms because I'm like, oh, your brain bleeds like when you take mushrooms. That's what we grew up thinking. I'm like,
Right.
I don't want to do this. Anyway, you take a microdose, so it's like 1/10 of 1 gram, which like even 1 gram like doesn't really do too much to you. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I tried it. Just kind of felt happy.
Yeah.
But it kind of lifted my spirits for a few days. I'm not saying this is what got me out of the rut, but I will say that this changed my life.
Okay.
And I think it's given me the tools to be way more of a successful person. And a positive person mentally. Like it's almost like they armored me with the tools I need to fight my own demons. That's the way like I put it. But one day specifically, I was with my buddy Connor at the brokerage, and we took a mushroom gummy, working away, and then like this one kind of like hit me a little hard. I got really giggly. I was like, we need to go for a walk. So we're walking down the street in the summer, and I just stopped, and I had an epiphany. I've never like had an epiphany before. It was fucking weird, dude. Because like my whole life I've been depressed, like suicidal, like woe is me, like I'm never good enough. Like the way I describe it, and he was with me when this happened, is I just like I was in my own brain, and like I opened a door in my brain that I did not know existed, and behind that door was like, oh my fucking god, you can just choose to be happy. You can change your entire mindset right fucking now. Like you have everything you need. You have it all to be who you want to be. Like it was weird. And that moment changed my life. I'm not even lying. And I would like microdose mushrooms like once every like week or 2 weeks, like just in the summertime. I haven't really done it like a year and a half now, but
It reminds me of like people saying like an ego death.
So I never like had an ego death, but I do think this was like a small example of like what maybe it could feel like, because I've never taken like a large dose.
Right.
But I did take them almost like religiously for like a summer, and I feel like it rewired my whole brain. Like I do feel like a different person, and I started to see all my previous faults. Like I was like, oh, I was a fucking asshole. I'm manipulative, like,
but through an objective lens, right? And
like revealed me to myself almost in a way.
Britt had a very similar experience. Me, not so much, but Britt had a very similar experience where her version of this ego death was realizing that she's not a victim all the time. Like, bad things happening to her in her life are not because she's a victim, and it's not like she's being handed all the worst things in the world. They just are what they are, and she realized that she was choosing to just amplify.
That's exactly how it happened for me. I was like, I could choose this other path.
Right.
Like I didn't realize I had that choice. I felt like powerless and like a victim as well. Like for like many years. I feel like that's a huge. There's a lot of research and a lot of studies being done for like people suffering with anxiety, depression, PTSD, where they're being literally cured by like microdosing LSD and psilocybin in like a pharmaceutical setting, right?
Yeah, totally.
And that's been going on for years, and I think it's really interesting and a very powerful sort of field of research that like needs to sort of like speed up, because a lot of people need this help, and it changed my life. And I just know that if there's people suffering with like real PTSD, real like anxiety and depression, like there is potentially like a cure or like an aid for them out there in the near future, and that's like extremely exciting. But yeah, I don't think it's like the single reason why I got out of that rut, but the timing was perfect, and I think I needed it.
100%, yeah. And I've only known you since you moved to Toronto, which is crazy.
Yeah, so
I mean,
weird.
really, yeah. That's crazy too, which has only been like 4 months or 5 months.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump back to fashion real quick. How did you develop your personal style?
How did I develop my personal style? I feel like my personal style is so mood based, and I've never been afraid of dressing to reflect how I feel. If you like look at old pictures of me, my style was terrible. I always thought like one statement piece was good enough to have a cool outfit, and then like skinny jeans, whatever. Like it's pretty bad. So I think I've just been discovering my style over the years, experimenting, bro. And that's it. Not being afraid. I saw Carlita on your podcast. She was saying like playing dress up in your room. Like I do that all the time. It's so fun for me.
Yeah.
Like honestly, trying new outfits and styles is genuinely fun. It's like whatever somebody else does for fun. Like if they go to like, I don't know, play bowling or something. Like for me, like trying on new outfits alone and experimenting with clothes and like layering and colors and silhouettes is fun. Like that's an activity for me.
Completely.
I don't do it as much anymore because I feel like I've actually honed in on like sort of like my style a little bit more than I have in the past over like the last couple of years. And I discovered like what works for me and like what doesn't. So now it was like a huge experimental phase. And now it's like more of like okay, this is like the core of like my style where I want it to be going forward. And now I think I'm just going to work on like refining it over the years. But how I found it was just like, just not being afraid to like try new things, really.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, how much do you think that confidence plays into your decision to wear something on a day-to-day basis? Because I see, like, I love your outfits and I love your style, and I think most guys out there, I can't generalize, but a lot of guys out there would not have the confidence to wear what you wear.
Yeah, it's sad because I feel like a lot of them want to as well. I think confidence plays a huge role, but I also feel like you can get confidence from your clothes. Like if you wear something that is new to you, so like you're afraid to try it on, you're not confident it's going to work, but you surprise yourself, you actually could feel like more confident in that than you thought you would. And like that's like where your confidence can come from. I know like for me, I put on a good, like I'm a confident person, like normally, but if I put on a good outfit, it just makes me feel even 10 times more confident
100%.
than I already was like when I woke up. You know what I mean? And Carlita said the same thing too in your podcast. She's fucking awesome. She makes the sickest outfits I've ever seen. And she makes some really good points about if you try something on a bunch because like you want to like it, but it just doesn't feel right on you, then it's not for you. And like that is really true. There is like a fine line, I think, because you can, maybe you're just not, maybe it looks sick, but you're not confident enough for that piece. So I think maybe you can just like hang on to it, dial it back, and then experiment with other things that you're more confident with before you like go back to revisit it. But I do think she's right. Like if you try to make something work, you try to force it, like you can read it all over your body language. It makes you not feel good.
Like there's the piece and then there's who's wearing it.
Yeah, you don't want the clothes to wear you.
Yes.
Essentially. So
completely.
Yeah.
For the same reason why some, I think of some like legacy actors that are, a bit older can absolutely demolish a white t-shirt and jeans.
Yeah, bro.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's it's the most simple thing in the world.
That's you, bro. It's you. White t-shirt and jeans.
And a nice watch.
Pair of boots. Yeah,
nice pair of boots and a nice watch and some glasses. You know how it is. Do you think like overall social media has helped your style or not even for you, but people out there, do you think social media helps develop style or does it diminish it?
100% helps.
Yeah?
Dude, like think about it. Everywhere you look, there's like, there used to be like trends and sure, like, the big magazines are saying like, this is trending this year. This is trending this year. This is the trendy shoe. Okay. Apart from all that, every like style is trending all the time.
Right.
Like Gorpcore is still a thing. Like people still rock Gorpcore. That's who they are. The workwear shit is still a thing. Like the leopard print, still a thing. The like suiting, it's huge on the internet. And then you just have like the regular like guy, kind of like me, who wears like Acne Studios jeans and Our Legacy boots. Like that's like today's like hype beast almost. Like a lot of people used to wear Supreme. I feel like the Acne jeans are like almost like Supreme. They're more of like an elevated chic way of like being a hype boy, but I kind of feel it like happening. So I think it's, dude, like there's so much resources out there for people to pick and choose their own style based on things they see that they like online, that it's got to be helping. Like there's no, because before, like what we used to have, like what not to wear on TLC.
Exactly.
Like, like you can't wear navy and black together. It's like, fuck off. Yes, you can, you idiot.
Try me.
Yeah, watch this. But no, seriously, I think it's amazing. It's an amazing tool. And even myself, I feel like, again, I found my core pieces that like work for me, but sometimes I still feel stuck getting dressed, and I'll just go look for inspo. And mostly the girlies, man. All these fucking Instagram girls have the sickest style. And I copy like most of my looks from women online, believe it or not.
Who inspires you right now in the fashion space?
Iris Loves Unicorns is like my favorite like fashion girl. I don't know if you're able to, whatever, or if you're watching, look it up. Iris Loves Unicorns. And then you actually like her best friend. I forget her name. Or was it you? It might have been Ryan, who was saying her best friend is also a fashion creator. He loves her. There's another girl named Lissy Roddy from the UK. Sick ass style. When I'm like trying to get away from the more chic men's like timeless looks and I want to get a little more fun and creative, like I'll look at what the girls are doing, bro. Like all the time. So Lissy Roddy's a big one. Iris Loves Unicorns is a big one. I gotta shout out some boys though too. Moritz Taylor, he's from Germany. He's sick. I think it's Moritz Taylor. Damian Broderick, he's like famous for suiting that guy. He's sick. He's like proportions are perfect. He really understands like proportions and like menswear, like classic menswear. Who else do I like? I got to make sure I name a few good ones here. In Toronto, Daniel Ocean, I think he's great. Yep. He's doing great stuff. His photography is like really clean, and I just love his like whole overall aesthetic. I actually met him. I bought a table off him the other day.
Oh, nice.
House. Really nice guy.
What table? Can I see it?
It's my new desk.
Oh, I didn't go upstairs.
Yeah, no, you'll see it next time.
I'll see you next time.
But yeah, so he's really cool. And honestly, I gotta shout out Emmanuel. I don't know his last name. Uddenberg, yeah. He's from the Toronto area as well. That. The guy's really cool. And then obviously you got like the Daniel Simmons and stuff, who was an inspiration to me in like 2021. I think I found him early and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And I was like, I could do that. I can make these videos. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna make some videos too. I don't like think my style is exactly like his now, but I think he's like really paved the way for a lot of us. And you gotta show respect when respect is due. So yeah, those are the main ones. I mean,
I know the answer to this next question, but I'm asking for the audience. What is your focus and favorite platform right now
YouTube.
To create for?
Yeah, I think YouTube's amazing, man. You can like connect with your audience so much more. It's less hate too, like coming at me on YouTube.
I find that too. Yeah,
I still get some hate, and they comment like this
of
video.
Course, yeah.
Somebody said, "Oh fuck, so funny." Oh, I forget what they said. Somebody said this video is so fucking bad. Somebody should have like paid me to watch it or something. I don't know. And I laughed. I was like, dude, you're an animal. Like,
see, I love you actually reply to the negative comments and you like kind of bark back, which I love.
Yeah.
That's not my character online, and so like I usually just completely ignore any negative comments, and I don't delete them. I let them live there, but I just ignore them altogether just to not give them the light of day. Yeah. Part of me always has a great comeback, but I let it simmer.
I love a good your mom joke. You know that? Yeah. Somebody said, because I wore a skirt, somebody's like, oh, can you style like a red thong next or something? I was like, oh, actually your mom left hers here last night. Like, I'll throw that on for you. That was funny.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I can't, sometimes like I ignore a lot of them. And a lot of them do like kind of hurt me, and I'm like, fuck. Like I'll get 100 good comments and one bad one, and that's the one I think about.
100%.
And that just speaks to how I need to improve my own like mental state, and like I have to like protect my own energy, because like that's on me to not be bothered by that. And I'm getting better at it, but some of them I'm like, nah, you're getting a response. Like,
yeah, a YouTuber I know in Toronto, quite large on YouTube. They actually ended up hiring a virtual moderator for their account, just to go through, like, they, as the creator, will never look at the comments.
Okay.
And the moderator, who lives wherever they live, they go through all the comments, and they know the brand language of the creator, and they reply to all the comments, and they filter out any negative ones. And so there's never any negative comments going to the creator's psyche. And they're just dialed into actually making the next thing, and not sitting there being like, fuck, why did they comment that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. I don't know if that's good or bad though.
Like, I love interacting with the comments, and I love seeing, and I think what can be cool is having like this moderator give you like a weekly download of the top 10 comments or whatever from your channel to juice you up, and then totally ignore the negative ones, unless there's obviously like a PR issue where like you're under fire for something, then that's also good to know about. But if it's just like a hater online, my brain doesn't need to consume that, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's that's weird, because like cutting out the negative comments like that, like as if they don't exist, is like, I feel like you can build that own skill without having to actually delete the comments, and that's what I'm trying to work on. And I'm only saying that because I think like negative comments are good. I feel like you need them.
Good for you, good for you, the creator.
Yeah, you need friction, you need pushback, you need to piss a couple people off. It actually, like, if you look at it through a different lens, like, it validates what you're doing.
Yes.
Because like you're reaching a lot of people, and nobody's gonna agree with you. Like, not everybody's gonna agree with you all the time. Like, that's very important. So like having like a perfectly curated comment section. I mean, if it helps your own mental, like, if it helps you mentally to be a better creator, like, sure. Right. But then I'm also looking at that from like a consumer standpoint, like watching it, I'm like,
and it also just depends on how confident. Right. It also depends on how confident you are with what you're talking about. Like, if somebody comments something pushing back on your stance on something or whatever, if you're that confident about what you've said, you shouldn't take that negatively. In fact, like you said, it should validate your stance even more. Yeah. Because you can just say, oh, that person just doesn't get it. Yeah. They just don't get it. You know what I mean? They're on that side of the fence.
Yeah. A lot of people actually have like just like a different like sort of way of communicating too. Like when I read like a comment,
Mm-hmm.
I like sometimes immediately assume it's negative when it's actually just like kind of good criticism,
Right.
but not delivered in like a polite way. So I'm like, this is a fucking asshole.
Right.
Why would they say this? But if I like, take a breath, really digest it, I'm like, oh, they're right. I actually could have done this differently, or why didn't I say this, or why did I say this the way I did? And I think it's important to have criticism to become better. I implement it like every time I like post a video, I get like a little bit of criticism for the most part, and I try to do better on the next one.
Totally.
I realize I'll never get perfect, but I think it's also the way you look at the comments. Because like, again, like my guard goes up. I'm like, you're an asshole. You're negatively commenting, but like that's just the way they talk. That their tone isn't coming across right, and they're just giving me some like actually like good criticism.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to like be able to differentiate like when someone's being an asshole or when they're just trying to like give you like a tip.
And also, especially on platforms like TikTok, sometimes that criticism creates conversation in and of itself.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you definitely had this where like your fans are actually standing up for you.
Yeah, that's nice.
And there's that back and forth on like a thread of comments. It's hilarious,
Yeah.
but it's good for the video.
Yeah, it's actually really, that's also why negative comments are good, because
Yeah.
then it gives your community a chance to stand up for you.
I
Which is cool.
think I don't know if it was Mr. Beast or Gary Vee or somebody I was watching years ago. They said the best thing for your content is controversy.
Yeah, that's
right?
valid.
For people to, and it doesn't always need to be negative, like your
Yeah.
Kanye putting swastika t-shirts on
my
online for sale, but it can just be something kind of mild, right? And a little bit of a tug, a little bit of a push, and getting people stirred up is honestly interesting.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
That's a platform I don't look at the comments at all anymore. TikTok.
TikTok?
Like I might like glance at them quick, but like I genuinely like do not give a fuck about my TikTok comments. I'm like let them do what they got to do, and I'll see a couple like good ones, I'll reply. Whatever negative ones, like I genuinely don't care.
Right.
But like YouTube, it grinds my gears more because I put so much effort into my videos.
Totally.
And if someone's just immediately a dick to me, it's like, buddy, like fuck you.
Yeah.
You know? Somebody like a good piece of criticism was my audio levels were like a little muffled or something.
Okay.
On my last video, which I was surprised by because it sounded good to me. So I was like,
Which video?
I forget.
I thought it sounded great in your last few videos.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
But so
the recent pickups one? Maybe?
what the hell was it? It's my most recent video on YouTube.
Okay.
I forget what it was. Probably a recent pickups video. But yeah, the comment came across as like kind of like negative in its delivery.
Right.
But then I was like, wait a minute. I listened to the audio, and then are you checking your audio?
No, I'm checking the time, making sure we're on track.
Oh, have we gone too long?
No, we've ran through this podcast crazy.
Oh, amazing.
I have a list of questions that I don't usually touch on every single question, but I try and like.
Dude, I talk too much. I could.
No, I love it.
Okay.
I love it. That's what I'm saying. But I've gone through like a quarter of my questions, and we're 49 minutes.
Okay, let's do like a blitz run.
No. Let's keep it rolling. I love it. I love going deep. I'd rather go deep than wide.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hey.
What were we talking about now? God damn it. How the comment came across.
Yeah, so it came across negative, but I was like, all right, let me actually just like look at this through his lens. And then I listened to the video. I was like, okay, like maybe. So I replied. I was like, hey, like if anyone else feels this way, I want to make sure I'm giving the best content. Please comment below if the audio is not good enough. And like 3 people were like, yeah, like something's a little off here. So I'm like, all right, fuck it, I'll fix it. And that's it.
That's
great.
nice. That's great feedback.
Yeah.
I had a funny one. Somebody DM'd me on IG saying, hey, Josh, I love your YouTube videos. Just want to show some love. Thank you so much for making the videos. You really inspired me to pick up my camera. Blah, 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 blah. Really nice comment. I read the DM. I start to reply because I want to actually send this guy a nice message back, being like, man, thank you so much for the support, whatever. I was mid-sentence and I got pulled into something, like whatever it was. I was out or working, and I didn't finish the reply. And I checked my phone a minute later, and this guy replies or DMs me again saying, oh, so you're going to read the message and not answer?
Oh my God, what a fucking douchebag.
And I was like, what? And again, like, I'm trying to like take this cap off of just assuming, like, my gut reaction was, what a douchebag, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, I'm literally about to answer you 100% and give you an actual full rounded answer and reply, and you're going to come to me with this. That was my immediate response. And then a part of me, which may or may not be true, was just like, you know what, this might just be this guy's communication style. Maybe he didn't meant to speak that way. Maybe he is having a terrible day himself. Whatever, I don't know. Yeah. I'm not condoning it. I'm not like letting him off the hook. but I don't want to just jump to like, fuck this guy, what an idiot. You know what I mean?
I did right away.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I know.
I was like, bad for you.
I did the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should reply to my
You
comments.
fucking bitch. Yeah.
That would be actually a hilarious video. You reply to my comments for me.
Yeah, we can make that happen. Nobody wants that.
All things being equal right now, if IG, TikTok, and YouTube were gone tomorrow, what would you do?
Oh my god. That's a scary thought, man. Oh my god, I don't know. Nothing. I'd be fucked. Genuinely be fucked. Like, I'm so blessed and lucky to have the job I have, and it's not lost on me that like it could be gone tomorrow.
Like during the whole TikTok debacle, did you ever think about how fragile these things are?
I think about it all the time. It scares the shit out of me. That's again why I really want to have like a brick and mortar, like something of my own, and I need to build that before it's too late. Like, so there's always a sense of urgency with me, but I don't know what I would do, man.
Yeah.
I'll go, like, I still want to go like acting school. I would love to be an actor.
Oh, cool.
But I don't think that would, like, I would need to pay my bills, so I'd probably just bartend or something, which my back would be hurt. I don't know. Oh my god.
What did you want to be growing up?
An actor.
Yeah.
It's my childhood dream.
Like A-list Hollywood actor.
Yeah, like Johnny Depp style.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
What I know recently you got back into your personal training game. How's that going, first of all? And second of all, what other routines or habits have you brought into this new year with you to 2025?
Training's going well. Very hard. We're kind of like working out some kinks with like my schedule and just like my flow and like listening to my body to see like what the best plan is for me, because like we did a lot really quick and I've got like 4 injuries piling up right now.
Right.
So I actually took yesterday off.
Okay.
But I'm really focused on like my diet, and habits that I'm taking into this new year with me are just more of what I did last year, man. Like not drinking, eating really clean, and taking care of myself physically and being kind to myself mentally. My morning routine is out the window right now because we have to train at night in order to train in person with my trainer.
Okay.
Normally I'm a 5 a.m. guy, but now I'm a 5 p.m. guy, which really sucks actually. So I'm adjusting to not having as productive of mornings, which is not setting the tone in the way I would love for my day, but I'm making it work. I'm with him for 3 months. By the end, we should be in a good swing. But yeah, no, that's it, man.
I hate evening workouts.
Same, dude. Oh my god, it's
Like,
just like I just don't want it at 5 p.m. Like leave my house. Are you fucking kidding me?
I'm trying to make dinner.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm
trying to just like simmer down.
I also love working out on like an empty stomach, and in the morning, like that early, there's nobody there.
Oh yeah.
Hot tub is empty, sauna's empty, like the lights are dim. Like I'm just fucking zen,
Nice,
you know.
dude.
And then I go home and I'm like primed for my day.
100%.
I don't have that right now. It's kind of annoying, but I'll get back to it.
I have a question about your love for fragrances, and I wanted you to be able to. I told you before the podcast, I don't know anything about fragrances, and I'm just not into it. Can you sell me on the love of fragrances to somebody that doesn't know anything about fragrances? Like, why is it something that I should care about?
Oh my god. I don't feel like I need. Okay, hold on. I don't feel like I need to like sell you on the love of fragrances. I think like buying too many fragrances is fucking stupid. But like it's also like if you don't have a passion for fragrances, I don't think like it's actually weird to me. It's almost like not liking music in a weird way. I think
Like, I do the bare minimum when it comes to fragrance. Like, I just like, I'm like, oh, this one's on sale. Okay, I'll get that for the next 6 months.
so you're a very practical person. Like it's just like it's got its use case and that's it. Like you don't have any. Do you have any like memories tied to like anything special fragrance wise?
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
But then I go to your house and I smell you. I'll give you a hug and I'm like, God damn. That's what fragrance is about.
I think it is. Okay, it's a very personal thing, and I've learned this over dude. Honestly, fragrances, I think for me, are the foundation of like my entire platform. Like the reason I am even a creator, like, comes from years ago when I discovered Tom Ford's private line when I was an ironworker in Toronto. I think you've heard the story, but I'll just like blaze through it. My buddy at work used to commit like credit card fraud and like had all this money, and he used to like buy like so much shit from like Holt. I didn't even know Holt Renfrew existed. Like in my eyes, like the Bay was like luxury back then, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, go in there with him on lunch. He's like, oh, this is like fragrances. I'm like, what the fuck? A kid in a candy store. Like I love nice things. Like I'm bougie like that. And I found Tom Ford Venetian Bergamot. I smelled it. I've never in my life, I smelled like a lot of the Tom Ford ones, but that one, like it changed something in my brain. Where I was like, I need this. I was like, I need to live a life where this is normal for me to have a $400 bottle of fragrance that's this big that I could just wear. Like, I was like, I need this. Everybody else can have it. Why not me? So I saved up my toonies and loonies in like a jar for months from doing coffee runs at work until I had like 400 or whatever dollars. Went back to Holt Renfrew and I bought the fragrance. And that was a huge moment for me. And now I have so many fragrances.
Is that how much? They're $400.
Like $450, I think, yeah.
Jesus
and that one's actually
Christ.
discontinued now, but I still am able to get my hands on it because I'm resourceful like that. But that one is very special to me because it marks a moment in time where I knew I wanted to be more than what I was. And that scent is attached to that for me. And it's a reminder that like I can do anything, like if I put my mind to it. And it's a reminder that like self-care is more than just brushing your teeth. It's like an entire routine. It's the clothes we wear. It's the fragrances that we wear. It's a very personal thing. There's a lot of good fragrances out there, and it's easy to fall into the trap of like, you need this one for this, and this one for this, and this one for this. I've got like over 100 fragrances, and like I was one of those guys buying so many because it's like more is better, but it's really not. You just need a few that really resonate with you, and that like speak to you, and you're good. Like when we were in Paris, I brought this one that it's not even like the best fragrance ever, but I love it so much because every time I smell it, it reminds me of being in Paris with Val. It's Father Figure from Fleur. So that's like our Paris fragrance. And that's just like, anytime I smell it, it just transports me back. Because like scent is the biggest thing tied to memory. It's your biggest sense tied to your memory. So like you can smell something and it'll trigger a memory that was locked away that you didn't even know you had.
I think that sold me on it by itself. That's so
dude,
cool.
and that's what's so beautiful about fragrances. So like I don't like want you to like be sold on buying like a million fragrances, but I do think there's something beautiful about. It's like tattoos. Like there's a point in your life you're feeling a certain way. You commemorate that era of your life with like ink in your skin. It's permanent. And scent does the same thing, even like on a deeper level, like in your brain. Like you associate these smells with that period of your life, and every time you smell it, it brings you back, makes you feel young again. So Venetian Bergamot is my be all end all fragrance that really changed my entire perspective on who I wanted to be as a person. Fleur is my fragrance that we, had in Paris that just like, it brings me back to Paris and it just makes me so happy.
Totally.
There's one called Coastal Cypress and Sea Fennel from Molten Brown. Oof. And I smelled that one actually when I was in London with Ryan, but it reminds me of the first time Val and I went to Florida together. When we rolled out, we rented a Jeep, the top was off, and the salty sea air that blasted into our face. I'm gonna get emotional. I've never actually felt so happy in my life.
Wow.
It was crazy. And I've never vacationed in Florida with like anyone. And that fragrance smells exactly like that moment for me. And every time I spray it, it just brings me back to Florida. So that's like my Florida scent, or the scent I wear when I want to feel that type of way again. So I have a few that I reach to instinctually that just make me feel a certain way, and it's not even about the fragrance being better than other fragrances. Right. It's just about what they do for me and like the memories they're tied to. So that's where I think I'm sad to hear that you don't have like this experience with fragrances, because there's so much almost I feel like you're missing.
I think I'm about to.
Yeah, but maybe next time you travel, buy one. Buy one when you're out, like you're going to Lisbon soon.
Right.
Buy a fragrance when you're there and just wear it that whole time. And I guarantee you, when you come back and you spray it again, you're gonna be like, fuck, man, like brings me back and smells good. It's just another layer of accessorizing, but it's also so like ingrained in like your memory and like your experience in life that I think it's just it's crucial.
It reminds me so much of, for me, watches.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like marking like a milestone with like a purchase of a watch kind of thing, or
right. And I look at certain watches, no matter how many times you smell a scent or you look at your watch, a small part of you gets transported back to that moment.
Yeah.
Or that time in your life.
Yeah.
And that's so special.
The thing that's different, I think, with fragrances is you don't need to be the one wearing the fragrance. Like Val will wear that Fleur fragrance, and when she does, it brings me back. You know what I mean? And like you can smell it on a stranger and it can remind you of it.
Right.
You like the watch, like I understand, but you have to physically look at it and like actively think about that journey and reflect.
Right.
A fragrance, it's an instinct. It instantly puts your brain right there in that moment that you had 10 years ago or whatever.
That's beautiful. Now, are there objectively bad fragrances that people should stay away from? Like I can tell you objectively, watches that are not worth your money. Like, is that the same with fragrances?
It's definitely like an entirely subjective industry in my opinion, but there are some fragrances that are fucking gross. Like there's some very experimental stuff out there. Like there's one brand, I forget what they're called, but they have a fragrance called like T-Rex or some shit. And they use like Tacit, which is like an oil gland from like the anus of like some weird cat. And like there's like some like disgusting like scat smelling fragrance notes that like people like call art, but it's actually just smells like poo. So like in that sense, like there's a lot of gross stuff out there, but I think it's subjective.
The fragrances that I usually wear, I think about like when I go out for a nice function or something like that. What it reminds me of is the person that I aspire to be. That's kind of like what it reminds me of. Like I spray it on myself and I go, damn, that's who I am.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's the same thing that goes back to like the confidence that clothes can bring.
Completely.
Yeah. Like your fragrance, like smelling good, like having like good hair, good hygiene, good accessories, good clothes, like it all adds to that confidence. But it also is like, you're always striving to be more than you are. And I think, that's a great example of how like a fragrance can have a very powerful impact. Totally agree.
Is there a recent or non-recent, is there a lesson that stuck with you that you had to learn the hard way, both either personal, professional, anything?
A lesson that I had to learn the hard way. I feel like everything I've done in life, I learned the hard way because I'm a very stubborn person. That's something that maybe a lot of people don't know about me online is I'm extremely stubborn. Very, very, very stubborn. And I'm very resistant to change. Although I want to change and I want to be better, like I resist to it a lot. So that's actually something I have to work on. So I think maybe that's where like my lesson is to be a little more open. And I do try actively to be better in that way. But I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
How are you with? I'm going to ask you because I know my answer. How are you with dealing with ambiguity and like sudden change?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Like let's say day to day, if you have a full day schedule and things are just not going to plan, like how are you with dealing with that? Like,
terrible.
Yeah,
well, terrible. I am too. It's fucking terrible, bro.
Yeah.
Like I had a partnership. You know about this. Kind of stressed me out a lot recently. 3 years ago, you tell me I'm going to be making this much money for a partnership,
right,
and all I have to do is this, and there's going to be these little bumps in the road. I'd be like, okay,
when do I sign?
Sign, now. And now, I gotta just really reflect in these moments when I'm feeling stressed like this. And I think that's something that I've learned about myself is I need to remove myself from the situation, give myself an hour to calm down, talk myself off a ledge, and then reapproach. And I feel that way more when I'm not on my routine. So like my morning routine is everything to me because when I get my workout, my zen, like my hot tub, my sauna in the morning, my breakfast, I kiss my girlfriend goodbye, like play with my dog, and then I start my day, nothing can fuck with me.
Yes.
But if I don't have that, and one thing goes wrong, it's like a snowball. And I'm like, I feel like I'm playing catch up all day and I'm anxious and I'm stressed and I don't like being that way. So it's just a sign to me that I need to like adjust my routine again. But
dude, that was me yesterday. I had to wake up at 6 to go to the passport office to get a new passport, and it's never fun. Like it's a nightmare. But I had to be there really early to make sure that I would at least get like a decent spot in line. Didn't want to spend my whole day there.
Yeah, you have to go like an hour before they even open.
It was crazy. It was crazy. So I got all that done. Obviously, had no morning routine because I woke up like a zombie, left the house, transited there, did the whole thing for 2 hours, got home. And I got home and I felt like absolute shit. I was like, the only thing I need right now is to go back to bed to restart this whole day.
Straight up, bro.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if the morning routine is dialed in, you feel like a weapon.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's like, it gets your mind right for the day. Yeah. Like, I think not enough people realize how powerful like a morning can be for them. And not to be that like person, like you need a morning routine, but like, fuck, man, you kind of do. Like you need to fill your cup before the day starts.
Another amazing thing about our job is we have the flexibility to not have like a 20-minute scramble in the morning. Like we can actually take our time. Make our
that's true.
Right?
That's true. I really have to remind myself of this because sometimes like it's really annoying to hear creators shove down people's throat. Like you got to wake up and do this. It's like, bitch, like you're a fucking creator. You work for yourself. You don't even leave your house. Like I have kids that I have to feed. I have a 9-to-5 job. I have responsibilities. I have a mortgage. I can't just get up at 4 a.m. My kid needs me like 5:30 a.m. or I got to drive him to school. I totally get it. And it can be so annoying to hear that over and over and over. So I think for anybody who like is in that position, you got to find something for you that you can do. Maybe even if it's half an hour or an hour, like in your morning, just to fill your cup a little bit. It doesn't have to be the gym or this crazy routine. Just to fill your own cup so you have what you need to give back, whether it's a guided meditation or a breathing exercise or like you're reading a book even, like having a coffee, whatever. I think that really helps a lot. I don't think you need this crazy morning routine. You just need to fill your cup. And 100%. That's different for everybody.
I love that. Yeah. One thing that Britt and I have been trying to do more is when shit hits the fan, kind of like your example that you were just telling me about ambiguity, if it's me or her dealing with it, we'll look at each other and we'll say, everything you're feeling right now, all the emotions are valid. You're allowed to feel all this, but take a minute to zoom out.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
and
so
it's
special and important.
Like you said, like go for a walk, take a deep breath, whatever it is, and zoom out because everything you're feeling is real. Like it's all good. These, shit can hit the fan. It sucks. But it's not fair to you or anyone to blow it out of proportion just because you're in the heat of it.
Dude, I just did that like a week ago. I had that moment where...
Sorry, I keep playing footsies with you. I love it.
It's kind of I had that moment where like, I was blowing everything out of proportion. It's tough, man. It's really nice that you guys hold each other accountable like that because sometimes it feels like we're out here alone, in this industry. Like we don't have like a boss or whatever and like no one to talk to. No one, you can't really relate with anybody about your like issues. So it's easy to spiral, and feel that way.
I forget what it feels like and I've had many corporate jobs. I forget what it feels like to just clock in and clock out.
Oh, fuck. Thank God you forget, bro.
Like...
I forget. I actually don't forget. I'll never forget because I know I don't want to do it again.
Right. No, I don't want to do it at all.
Yeah.
But I think about, like, when, like, me and you,
we're, like, kind of a little bit outside of the matrix now.
Yeah.
And it's like...
No, I was going to say we both love work. Like, we both love the work. And so we can be working 16-hour days.
Yeah, I actually work more now.
100%.
Yeah.
At 11 p.m. at night, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Dialed in.
Yeah.
But part of me is like, damn, I wonder what that life... Like, sometimes a part of me thinks that it is simpler to just go to work, clock in, do the 8 hours, clock out.
I know.
But what does that lead to? What does that amount to, right?
Nothing.
And for some people, for the longest time, I would preach to the heavens that everyone should have this perfect lifestyle designed to escape the 9 to 5 and all this stuff. And I do believe that as a society and as a race, we should strive for that because it is really just a capitalist construct that we've developed as humans. But I don't believe that it is in our human nature to do that necessarily. It's not in our human nature to just sit behind a desk and work 8 hours to build somebody else's dream to get a paycheck. But at the same time, some people choose a life path that avenue is the most logical for them. Mm-hmm. That's what I think.
Yeah.
And I have friends that are very happy doing that, or at least what I see is they're very happy doing that, and they've built a family, they have kids, they have a house, and they're actually very content doing the punch in, punch out kind of thing.
I think a lot of people have different goals, and it's hard, I think, for people like us to understand that some people actually do want that because like we're in this creative field and like we have these big lofty dreams and goals, and like we understand that it doesn't have to be that way, and we feel like all these people are stuck there. And I'm sure a lot of them feel like they're stuck there, but yeah, some of them want it, man. Some of them want the kids, they want the suburban house, they want that easy life, they want that pension, they want to punch in, punch out, which blows my mind because it's just so not for me. But yeah, man, I don't know. I think I agree with everything you said. I find it terrifying, personally.
I saw this TikTok yesterday, one of those like cheesy TikToks with like all this copy over it, like a big paragraph, and it was like in quotes, you saying, maybe in my next life, and then it was responding to that saying, what next life?
Bro, oh my God. I think about this shit every fucking day.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're gonna die. Like, and I remind myself of this every single day. I'm like, and this might not be actually healthy because I'm like, every day I'm like, today could be my last day.
I think about this all the
Today
time.
could be my last day. And I'm like, how would I want my last day to be?
Yeah.
Do I want to be a kind person? And I think about this every fucking day.
Every day.
Some days I have a bad day and I don't think about it and I'm like, fuck, like what if I died that day?
Right.
And that's how I would have died.
Right.
That would have been my last day. And I can't fucking live like that. And I'm like, dude, I broke down crying like a couple weeks ago in Bar Poet because this little kid was sitting at a table with his whole family and he was like probably like under the age of 12 and he clearly had cancer. He wasn't going to live long. It puts so much stuff in perspective for me. He's sitting there at this table with his whole family, like laughing, smiling, so happy. And everybody at the table was so strong. I'm going to cry.
Yeah.
So strong, just holding it together for this kid who's like fucking 12 years old. And like, he's just being robbed of his life. Like he's going to die. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? And like these Santas came in and sang Christmas carols to like the kid and then did the whole restaurant. And I was sitting across the restaurant fucking bawling because I'm like, my problems don't fucking matter. This kid doesn't get the opportunity to live his life. Like, It's just not fair. I'm sorry for getting emotional. I can't believe I'm crying about this, but it's just not fair. I feel like a lot of us don't like understand how fragile life is and like this opportunity that we have. So it's just something that I think about a lot, and I'm really, really, really grateful to be here. And I just wish everybody else felt that way, because a lot of people are just so stuck in their own head that they don't even understand that the biggest gift they have is that they're alive. You know what I mean? Sorry to get super deep, but like it's it haunts me, bro. I have the Grim Reaper tattooed on my hand because I'm like constantly thinking about.
That's beautiful.
Death. I don't know. It's fucked up.
I love that. That's
but it's
beautiful.
also like we have, it's a blank slate. Like your situation, your upbringing, whatever, doesn't define who you are. You can reinvent yourself whenever the fuck you want. And like, you just have to really look at it through a lens of like, this is the only chance I get. Let's not squander it. Let's be happy. Let's just choose to do the right things and be the right kind of person, you know? And that's it. Anyway.
Hey, I think that's a beautiful place to wrap. What? let me just closing out here. Like, where can people find you? And what's on the radar for you right now that you can talk about?
Well, you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. It's Charles Mackenzie on all of it. And on the radar, it's just more of the same. I plan to be a little bit more open to criticism, give the audience a little bit more of what they want. On YouTube, if you have any ideas of like videos that you want to see, just comment it below on my YouTube videos. I'm doing my best to like make those come to life for people, because I think it is important to have that sort of connection. But that's it, just more of the same, really planning on growing, educating a little bit, but also just showcasing like my lifestyle and the things that make me happy and bring me joy. I don't want to shove it down people's throats like you need to buy these or you need to do this. I just kind of want to exist and have the audience sort of like grow with me. YouTube is definitely like my main focus. Instagram 2, TikTok would be 3, but if you followed and subscribed to all of them, that would be nice.
Beautiful, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
I love you, dude.
Appreciate it. Sorry to get emotional at the end.
No.